Good morning, guys. Just got out of work and I am completely free balling here. I am just spitballing what comes to mind in a TA video. I'd like to go over a couple things on AMC first. So let's go over a couple things on AMC. We'll go over GameStop. We'll go over Dogecoin. We'll go over crypto. If you like crypto, stay until the end. If you like AMC, at least stay until we start to talk about crypto, right? Or watch all the way through if you love me. Not to be weird. But AMC showed a surprising amount of strength today. And I was very intrigued seeing Dogecoin down 12%, seeing Bitcoin down 4%, and seeing even GameStop held strong today, but IWM particularly went down more than both AMC and GameStop. So some really interesting strength from the meme stock duo here. And it begs me to question that they are in pivotal key support right now, and you have to hold that support. If you do not hold it, you're looking at a complete breakdown to lower price action, and it would be a bummer to see that happen, especially after you had such a clean reclaim and bounce off of this thing. I'd be really disappointed to see it break down now. On the day, you closed with a green doji candle with slightly higher volume than the previous day. You are quite literally pinched. You're squeezed between the 50-day EMA on the daily and the 9-day EMA on the daily. Now, typically when this kind of thing happens, it means that volatility is a-coming. Within the next couple days, right? You can only trade within these two indicators for so long before you either reclaim the 50 or you lose the 9. It is as simple as that, guys. And so for my bullish thesis, I believe that you are going to reclaim the 50-day EMA here. You tested a pretty key spot, and that was literally just the 50-day EMA. You can see how you've respected this indicator the last 3 days alone. You tapped on it, you wicked off of it, and you closed below it. You closed slightly above it, and you wicked into that close. You closed slightly below it or on top of it, and then here you lost it. So you've really been flirting with this 50-day EMA, and now you're playing that dance. AMC's dancing, right? You need to see a strong move and a rebound on IWM. Now, what gets me jacked is IWM was down almost 2% today. I believe at its peak, it was down 2% today, and AMC closed green. Almost never happens. There's the train. Almost never happens. And here it is showing a sign of strength in a pivotal moment. So if you see a nice sized bounce off of IWM tomorrow, you could, I preface this by saying could, rally pretty significantly on AMC. Now, what happened to make the news demolish small cap stocks like this? Because SPY closed green, right? I think what you saw was a gap fill on the daily of IWM, which is really healthy price action. And so what you're looking for now is a rebound, a bounce off. I didn't like the high bull or bearish volume here, but you want to see a rebound on IWM, and that will come with a rebound on AMC and a rebound on GameStop. GameStop actually has a surprisingly beautiful close with the daily bullish hammer close. That's a beautiful thing, guys. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. That gets me jacked. That gets me excited. But AMC showing strength, GME showing strength, crypto, not so much. Not so much. You got to hold this area unless you want to double top. All right, let's get a little bit more macro on AMC. On the weekly, You got to flip this. You got to flip this to a green close for me to be bullish here. I'd like to see a green hammer candle, and in order to do so, oh goodness, in order to do so, you would have to get back to the open at $3.24. Now that is not far away, and I think you could see that if you had the strong rebound on IWM. If that happens, guys, and you get a second bullish hammer weekly close on AMC, or even a DOGE, right? I'm fine with a DOGE too, showing indecision and more consolidation. If you get that on AMC, you are going to see this thing break, and you are going to see nasty price action. Don't be in the dumps for one day, guys. IWM flushed, the market flushed, but our two stocks, AMC, GME, held pretty strong. It does suck to see Doge go down 12%, but I know it's part of a macro accumulation pattern, and we'll be okay. It's okay to just log off sometimes, right? The weekly, you're still within this double bottom and this wedge here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a move to the bottom, but I'd like to see a strong pop and to show a sign of strength for the bulls. Your monthly Bollinger Bands still more coiled than they've ever been on AMC and have not began to expand yet. So you'd like to see us reclaim, or to see us claim in general, the mid band right at $3 and where is that? 384. 384 is your price target that you will see resistance on and that you have to gain in order to squeeze, really, because these bands will begin to expand as soon as you get above that midline. And funny enough, that midline is at the resistance point of this wedge. Funny. Woo! Drop a bless me. Bless you in chat. Okay. Quarterly MACD curling up for the first time since 2020. We know this. We've been covering this. Nothing has changed here. Still very, very bullish. So now you just need to see a bullish continuation. And a weekly close would be nice on AMC. Going into GameStop, I'd like to show you guys something. That I thought was really, really fun on GME. So there is a gentleman by the name of Jackie Lette. I'm not going to say that word. That does have great coverage on GameStop. If you haven't followed this guy, blow him up. Jackie Lette. Dude does great coverage on meme stocks as well. An inspiration, right? GameStop institutional ownership has been increasing for quite some time now. Looks like since the lows of 2022 into the highs of 2024, and is really beginning to stair step higher now and ramp up. And it's a really, really good sign that you have institutions buying in. And I know a lot of people can say that that's bad, but anytime that there's institutional ownership, that shows that the fundamentals are increasing and that there's a general consensus on GameStop that this thing is not a zombie company any longer. This thing is a valid company and can fight to get higher prices, higher market cap, and eventually maybe S&P 500, baby. We'll see. But this thing should be a cornerstone stock for those who are optimistic on the market, and it looks like it's becoming that. So I thought that was really cool. But getting into GameStop here, GameStop is continuing to curl up on the weekly MACD like we anticipated. And as soon as you begin to cross and get that MACD crossed, you could anticipate a very stupid move here to fill the gaps that have been left on the daily. Another train. What the heck is going on? Waiting for the horn. We'll see. But GameStop, GME, closing with a daily hammer candle is a beautiful sign for bulls. And for me, tells me that you're going to see a continuation into this downside resistance, right? A test and break of this is going to be crucial, and you could see that as early as tomorrow, guys. Your topside resistance being only at 23.20 now. 23.20 is the level to break right now, and above that, you are quite literally off to the 50-day EMA at $24. I would anticipate you might bump your head there, come back down for a retest, and maybe do something like the following, right? Bump your head, retest, and then maybe if it's more delayed, bump your head on the 200, and then you're going for the gap fills at 28, 29, or 30. And then one more gap fill. And can you tell me where that is? That gap fill on GME all the way at $73. That is your last gap fill on this chart. And I believe you're going to fill it. I don't know if it's going to be today, if it's going to be tomorrow, if it's going to be 6 months from now. But what I do know is that GameStop fundamentally is improved as a company, and it always covers its gaps, almost always. And so that's what gets me very, very excited about this very large gap here. Even if you were just to fill this, find support in the low 20s and go again, I think it's a great opportunity for GameStop. Let's see here. The 4 hour, what's the 4 hour look like? You're crossing down on the MACD on the 4 hour. So I don't love that. You'd want to see more immediate price action to the upside for this continuation. Typically, the 4 hour trend does hold pretty strong here, guys. And you don't often get fake outs on the 4 hour. This is one of them. We kind of got a stall or a delay, but it did not cross down. Guess you could say that this is one of them. You crossed down and then you pumped, but then you made another lower low. So we're going to have to see, guys. Maybe it's more continuation of chop in between the 50 and the 200 here. Very, very similar to what AMC's price action is doing on the daily time frame. And AMC kind of has it too. Whoa! AMC is pinned between the 200 and the 50. I didn't even notice that. So AMC and GME in very similar spots here. And one of these indicators will win. You will either bounce off the 50 or you reject off the 200. But either way, that's going to be crucial if you bounce and you see a 4 hour golden cross. Last time you got that was back here. You got the cross, you retested it, and you sent. Maybe you get the cross, retest it, and then you send. That's very interesting. So that's something to watch on the 4 hour chart, is what happens between these lines, this purple and this yellow. That's going to be pretty crucial going into next week. And we'll cover the close that we have tomorrow on the weekly candle. So that is it for AMC and GME. I'm going to cover crypto now. Do not click off. Do not go anywhere, because crypto and meme coins are one and alike. If you want to make money, you got to know the entire market, guys. All right. Drinking this Alani, this cherry Alani, by the way, freaking delicious. Would recommend. Let's jump into some Doge price action here. All right. You are still within this inverse head and shoulders, and you kind of got a fake out to the upside here that I don't love. Got a fake out to the upside, and then you absolutely capitulated down to this 200-day EMA. Now, it is crucial. It is very pivotal that you hold this 200-day EMA and that you hold this trend line, because this is what we were raving about just last 2 days, really. We had this inverse head and shoulders drawn up to a T. You kind of fell beneath the trend line, retested it, rejected, and then regained it. You bounced off of it, and then you were going to make your move. You were going to send. But PPE, I believe is what it's called, came back today. Let's look up PPE report. Not PPE. What is it called? CP? CP. No, that's not it. Definitely not it. Unusual whales will have it. Dude, and Unusual Whales is just on top of it all the time. All right. Dang, they actually don't have it. That's kind of disappointing. Wholesale prices rose 0.9% in July, much more than expected. All right. Back into crypto. So you are still within a right shoulder and still within this kind of bullish triangle formation here that I anticipate, if it takes a little bit longer, you could consolidate even all the way into a rate cut, if that were the case. And if you didn't get that rate cut, I would be a little bit fearful for what could happen in the crypto industry, because it seemed like, and call me a bear if you want, I am furthest from, but it seemed like the market began during this run to price in a potential rate cut from August, beginning of August to September, so that when the news hit, that it would not affect the stock market nearly as much. I see a little bit of indecision between the bulls and the bears here, because you have just gotten pretty negative news in relation to inflation. So we're going to have to see this develop a little bit more on the charts. And we're going to have to see a strong bounce from IWM to hopefully pull up cryptocurrency, because crypto had a nasty rejection last night. And in this morning, oh my God, Cherry Lonnie's getting me. So not a lot has changed here for Doge. Inverse head and shoulders, need to hold this trend line, need to hold the 200-day EMA. Bitcoin. What do we do with you? That's very weird that I cannot touch that trend line. Get me on the weekly. There we go. So Bitcoin weekly, we are still looking at this rising wedge formation. And we are looking for a potential test of 200 grand. There's going to be road bumps on the way there. I think 133 is a valid price target on Bitcoin to begin to take profit, not financial advice. Let's go to the daily here. The breakout from this falling wedge or bull flag should be taking you. Come on. Should be taking you pretty much exactly to 133. So that's why we had that trend line drawn there horizontally as topside resistance, because you've just kind of continued to make a bull flag, pop, bull flag, pop. You're stair stepping north side for Bitcoin, and I would expect it to continue to do so. This is a nasty rejection here on Bitcoin. You would want to see this begin to wake up into the end of the night here. Otherwise, you could see a delay on our further run, which would be a little unfortunate. Or a retest of the top of this wedge at 111,000. Potentially the 50-day EMA at 115. Ethereum. Let's see Ethereum. Ethereum is probably most likely going to get a bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing candle, unfortunately. And you could anticipate that it may, because the indicators are so far behind right now compared to Bitcoin, you could see a test of this top side resistance to potentially flip this to support for the first time ever. That would be huge. And that would actually get me so bullish that no one could hold me down. Like, it would be crazy how bullish you would be if you bounced off $4,000 and then went to 6. I think that's the most likely outcome. You can call me crazy if you like. I think Bitcoin begins to find its footing, and then Ethereum tests, and then altcoins rip. Because a lot of the altcoin charts still look really good. So I think they just need a breather after this pump. And then we're looking good, cooking with Crisco. We're back and rolling. But this weekly close here, you might not want to see that retest until after the weekend, guys, because you do not want to see a shooting star candle here. That would be very, very bad for a double top. I would not want to see that. So hold strong, little guy, little one. But yeah, that's what I got for the TA today, guys. I'm probably going to jump into a further AMC DD video. Potentially, maybe a different stock, depending on what you guys want. Thank you to the 120 subscribers. We are continuing to build steam like a train that cannot be stopped. So thank you to everyone who's been a part of this momentum. And God bless to every single one of you. It's a beautiful day, regardless of the news. If you have to log off, log off. Get outside, touch grass, spend time with your family. I will be making another video, guys. So until then, peace. Ooh, I'm sore.